It's Wednesday, December 17th, and we're looking at a couple of isolated areas in which we could see some thunderstorms and even some severe weather. Our main focus is going to be up here in the Pacific Northwest today, maybe seeing a couple of severe gusts brought with this. This is actually fueling that threat of severe weather today, potentially upwards of 60 miles an hour. I don't really think we're going to see anything super high above that, but definitely that risk has the potential to be realized. Also, down here in the coastal region of Texas, then up into the Louisiana Arkansas boot, we could also see some isolated thunderstorms with, I think, a pretty big patch near the Corpus Christi area. But starting with our main area of concern up here in the Pacific Northwest, it looks like the rainfall is going to start far in front of our main cold front, brought by just a lot of messy and strong forcing from a trough moving through. This is going to cause these storms to kind of branch out way far in front of our cold front, all the way into parts of Montana before daybreak today. And we're already going to have seen a lot of rain have pretty much fallen by time we get to daybreak. In fact, it looks like a lot of our severe threat might potentially be over by daybreak, just with a couple of storms lingering near coastal Washington and Oregon. But it looks like this main system, which is kind of characterized here by this main low and then a arcing cold front, is going to move all the way into parts of Montana and then even into Wyoming before nightfall today. And then a big thing with this is that because it's kind of going to act like a river almost falling on the Pacific Northwest, we also could see a flooding threat as well, kind of adding on to the extremely high amounts of rain that this area has been seeing in recent periods. And for our second area of concern, really it's only just going to be a little area of convergence and confluence, also aided by some forcing from a little shortwave pushing through as well down here in the Louisiana Arkansas boot, and then also coastal Texas. But it looks like we could actually have an area of kind of increased storm activity down here near the South Padre Island and Corpus Christi regions. These thunderstorms look a little bit more formidable, and I think this is just going to be a product of stronger convergence down here, also more moisture and things like that as well. Don't expect these to become severe, though. Definitely still want to be on the lookout and try to plan your day around those if possible. And the main reason why we're seeing a threat for severe weather up in the Pacific Northwest in the winter time is going to be solely because of the shear. These shear parameters are going to be really solid for a couple of organized storms, and also in the lower levels, definitely some strong gusts, maybe even being severe, are going to be possible. This is not going to be your typical, maybe Oklahoma severe weather outbreak, because there is simply no cape at all. There's really no instability, really no moisture. This is just something that we see that's very typical up in the Pacific Northwest, where these events are pretty much fueled entirely by shear and big cyclones coming onshore. And here is a different look at that. Our low pressure center is going to be characterized by this little bubble right here. Then we're also going to kind of see where that cold front is, where those isobars kind of kink down a little bit, I guess you could say. Maybe it's even a little bit further back here. And yeah, we just see a lot of westerly flow out of this. This is going to bring loads of forcing, and why we're seeing such a messy storm mode. We're also going to see a little bit of the same thing happening up in the northeast, why we're seeing similar kind of just nasty rainy weather. And then also same thing, a little bit of forcing down here in our Texas area of interest. Now, something with this is that this low pressure center, the same one causing that severe weather threat today, is actually going to cause some severe weather on Thursday. It looks like we could have a really big possibility for a strong line moving through. So definitely want to be on the lookout for that. And that's going to be with this kind of positively tilted trough that actually digs in a little bit and is also going to bring some colder air, which we'll touch on in a minute. As for other places in the country that could see some rain or just thunderstorms today, really we pretty much touched on it with the Pacific Northwest moving in to parts of the northern Rockies and northern plains as we go further into today, and also down here in the Louisiana Arkansas boot, coastal Texas, and then also potentially just anywhere on the Gulf, specifically the Louisiana coast, and also the Alabama and Mississippi coast, and also up here in the Northeast, maybe a couple of showers as well. But that's really going to be it for areas which might be receiving precipitation today. Now, when I said precipitation right there, I kind of meant rain, but something that we're going to take a little bit more of a deeper look into is snow, because this system is actually going to bring a decent bit of snow to the northern parts of the United States, specifically up here in the Pacific Northwest, mostly going to be in the higher elevations, with those higher elevations receiving for sure double digits. Maybe in the lower elevations, we could see a couple of flurries, specifically in parts like Montana, maybe totaling up to 2 inches in rainfall. Then really, this is just going to trace the US Canada border with a lot of that snow concentrated around that low pressure center. That's where it's going to be the coldest and where we're going to be able to see the highest potential for snowfall. Then, as we go into later in the week, a lot of the same trend, the higher elevations up here in the Pacific Northwest. And then, if you're closer to the US Canada border, maybe a couple of flurries as well. Now, what's going to make all of this snow possible is going to be this really cold temperatures brought by this cool front moving through, and also this low pressure center. It's kind of obvious where that low pressure center is, because we're seeing feels like temperatures with a wind chill probably above negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is unfortunately probably going to reach down into parts of Montana and the Dakotas as we go into the night tonight. The wind chill with this, because our winds are going to be very large, like we talked about when we are looking at our severe weather kind of forecast discussion a minute ago, is going to bring very, very high wind chills. In some areas, we may see negative 25 feels like temperatures. Now, if I were to draw a imaginary freeze line for tonight, it looks like it's probably going to follow just the Northeast, the northern Midwest, also including the central northern plains and also the Rockies as well. Anywhere south of that, you're probably good. Actually, going to be some very nice weather, probably nearing the mid to high 50s, and then higher than that with our hottest area in the nation. Looks like it's going to unsurprisingly be in Florida, chilling out in the 70s. Really, really perfect weather down there.